Good day and welcome back to another tutorial video with the Institution of Health Science in collaboration with the Cell Quicken and the Circle to Care Network. In this tutorial I'm going to be discussing medication, the effectivity and the availability in today's life and in the future moving forward. If you've had the time to watch the presentation video, I'd encourage you to now continue with this tutorial and make notes as we go along. If you have not yet watched the presentation video, please do so to ensure that you fully understand and grasp the concepts of all of the tutorial videos after this. So in today's tutorial, when we talk about medication, I need to make sure that you understand that the Cell Quicken at no point is trying to replace the medical fraternity. All that we are doing is we're saying that there is an alternative option available, a potentially much safer and more viable option available, but we do still encourage our clients that should they be in a crisis situation or in an emergency situation to still make use of a medical professional and normal over-the-counter or then prescription medication. But at the same time, I'd like to address the issue about what medication is. Now, for a lot of us, medication is just taking a tablet to solve a specific issue. But did you know that medication was never intended to be used for a very long extended period of time? Yes, that makes chronic medication quite a mystery to me as well. So when you think about medication, medication should be introduced into your body to address an immediate or acute condition and the correction of that. Taken for instance, an allergic reaction. If you have an allergic reaction, you take an antihistamine. The antihistamine then allows you to not have that reaction and you can continue on with your day. But it's not a good idea to have an antihistamine every single day. And if you are someone that has been doing this for quite a while, you'll agree with me when I say that after a while they stop working. Well, that's kind of a false truth. It's not the fact that the medication has stopped working, but more that your body has started doing what it's supposed to be doing. So think of your body as an ecosystem. Your body is always trying to preserve its health and state of health and overall well-being. By the introduction of specific chemicals and molecules, especially over an extended period of time, your body might realize that these are foreign elements and they start building up resistance. Hence why you might be needing to change your antihistamine on a very regular basis, or you need to start adding in different types of antihistamines, or even just increasing the dose. So the same applies to any other type of medication, is that initially they do their job very, very well, but over time your body will start becoming used to the actual medication. It starts building up a resistance, which means that the medication will in the long run not be as effective, and you'll start adding in more and more chemicals. Now, another thing to remember with the use of medication is the medication contains different chemicals, molecules, and combinations of elements. So by inducing or taking in medication, you are throwing chemicals throughout your whole body. So take for instance pain medication. It might be a paracetamol or an ibuprofen, but the actual tablet contains a lot of other chemical elements as well to allow the tablet to be absorbed at a specific rate, to last for a specific duration, and to actually be effective for the purpose of drinking it. Now, these additional chemicals actually go throughout your whole body as well, meaning they go through your brain, your liver, your kidneys, your stomach, and your whole blood system. So after a while, they start building up, and the buildup of these chemicals again can result in long-term organ damage or even organ failure. Think about someone that lived a pretty normal and pretty healthy life that all of a sudden in their 50s or 60s start having problems with their kidneys or their livers. Well, majority of the time you'll find that that person's been using long-term medication that was never intended for that use. When thinking about medication, it's important to remember that it's got two main purposes. The first purpose of using medication might be to kickstart or actually initiate a specific process within your body. Secondly, it's there to then either prevent or to stop a process in your body. So if you're constantly introducing this chemical into your body will start becoming dependent on it. Thinking about a child learning to ride a bike. If you never ever take the training wheels off the bike, the kid will never learn how to balance. Now, even after taking off the training wheels, the kid will fall a few times and scrape its knee, but eventually the child will learn and understand how to balance a bicycle and how to actually handle itself when in tricky situations. But if you keep the training wheels on that bicycle, yes, the child will move forward, but it will never actually learn or progress with the skills needed to cycle. So the same with your body. If you start introducing medication into it to start a process or to prevent a process, it's like putting back the training wheels. And by putting them back, your body becomes absolutely dependent on the drug. Hence, when you stop taking the medication, you actually feel bad. And it's not because your condition has worsened, it's actually because your body's become so dependent on the medication. So that's a question to ask your client when they do say that, no, I'm pretty healthy and my medication, I don't use that much, and even the medication that I do use, my medical aid is covering because I have them on a chronic prescription. Now, again, asking yourself the question about, are you comfortable with introducing chemicals and molecules into your body every single day and not fully understanding the long-term effect of them? That's a talking point that you can have with your client should it be a person that's using chronic medication. Secondly is understanding that your medical aid changes every single year, and the provisions made for medication and treatment also changes every single year. So yes, this year you might still be lucky and your chronic medication is indeed covered by your medical aid, but that picture might change in the year following or the year after that. Now, 3 years from now, if you've been taking, let's say for instance, blood pressure type medication or diabetes type medication every single day, in 3 years time from now, your body's become pretty dependent on that specific drug. Now the medical aid might turn around and say, unfortunately, this specific tablet is no longer available and you'll need to start paying out of your pocket for it. Then people start changing their minds about how they use their medication. So ask your client the question, do you use medication, yes or no? If you use medication, don't just ask them how much they spend on it on a monthly basis, but remember that the medical aid is covering a specific portion of it. And should the medical aid not be covering that portion, how much would they have been spending on medication on a monthly basis? Then you ask them the second question about, when they take the medication or initially started with the medication, did they have any adverse side effects, drowsiness, dizziness, nausea, or even have an initial transitional period to actually adjust to the medication? And you'll find a lot of them would say yes. If you have clients that say no, it also makes no difference, because the fact is that they are now constantly pill-ridden. They will constantly need to take medication for the rest of their lives. Now, the second question to ask after that is to actually ask your client, from the initial use of your medication, how much are you still taking? Has your dosage increased? Has your dosage decreased? Have you actually started to combine two different types of medications to still get the same effect? Or have you had to change over to a completely new type of medication to still get the same thing done? So that's where the Cell Quicken comes in. First of all, we've got no side effects. We don't introduce any dangerous chemicals or molecules into your body that could potentially result in different or multi-organ failure or damage. Secondly, we do not make your body dependent on a production of a chemical or an enzyme in your body, but instead we retrain your body. So we send out the frequency or the signaling and the information to your body to actually kickstart and restart the process. We start taking off the training wheels again. We get your body to start working the way it was intended to work from the beginning. So the reason why I mentioned this through to you is, in the first tutorial I made mention of the thing that a lot of clients will ask you if the Cell Quicken is now going to be a product that they need to use every single day. And the answer would be yes and no. Initially, yes, because first of all, we need to get rid of those additional chemicals and molecules in your body. We need to see what other damage it might have caused over the duration of use. Then secondly, we need to start addressing the actual condition. We need to start retraining your body into producing or reacting the correct way when put under a specific situation of stress, allergic reaction, diabetes, high blood pressure, and the list goes on. As soon as we start retraining your body, your client will actually experience that their own medication might not need to be introduced as much, and they will start weaning themselves off, or eventually have no need to make use of modern medicine and completely become dependent on the Cell Quicken. Not because we make your body dependent on what we introduce, but because we start reintroducing and retraining your body to function optimally. So when talking about medication and medication use with the Cell Quicken, understand that you need to mention to a client that medications have various side effects. Secondly, medication makes your body very dependent on that molecule and will actually prevent your body in future to function without it. Hence why if you skipped a dose today, you'll feel it because your body no longer produces that chemical or that enzyme on its own. Then thirdly would be that it might be a chronic medication now, the medical aid might be paying for it, but what happens as soon as the medical aid can't afford to allow you to have this? Will your clients still be using this medication? And if not, how are they going to recover or cope with not having this medication available? Then fourthly is the fact that all medications are used or supposed to be used for an acute system. So just to assist or breach a specific part of your body into its natural rhythm. So those are types of questions that you need to ask and cover with a potential client in introducing the Cell Quicken. Now, when talking about the Cell Quicken, it is very important to remind the client that first of all, we've got no side effects. Because we don't make use of chemicals or molecules foreign to your body, we've got no side effects. We don't cause any other organal damage or cross-reference any other systems with the usage of the molecules. We send the corrective signals. We retrain your body to start working optimally without having to compromise any other functions or systems within your body. And then remember that the Cell Quicken is the most natural way of working and communicating with your body. Hence, the body will not start building up resistance towards the Cell Quicken frequency, but eventually will be retrained that the frequency will no longer be necessary. That's when we move into the process where I referred to in the previous tutorial as the rejuvenation or the maintenance process, and that's where your body doesn't need to be treated for a condition any longer, but basically just needs to be maintained for that condition. So when thinking about the Cell Quicken and the institution of health science and the use of medication, those are the basic talking topics that I would suggest that you use with a client. If you've got any other questions or would like to find out more about specific questions or scenarios with clients and the use of medication, please feel free to leave a comment or connect with us via the support line. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in our next tutorial.